is full time that we stop hurting our children in the name of discipline.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is right. Corporal punishment should never be considered as a form of disciplinary action for all children. The saying, children live what they learn, is very apt. If you correct a child's behavior by beating, then you're teaching your child that hitting is a proper form of punishment. We should all strive to end this practice. Call 211 to report child abuse. You may also contact the National Parenting Support Commission in your parish for parenting tips. Let us not bequeath a violent society to our children. Instead, let us all work to make Jamaica a place of peace and love.
My name is Emile Leiber. I'm the president of the Jamaican Bar Association. We are grateful for all the investment which has taken place in our technological infrastructure. In order to fully appreciate the benefits of the technological improvements, I think one has to have an appreciation of how things were before. So if you're an attorney at law who was situated in, for example, Montego Bay, and you had a matter in the Supreme Court, it could be a chambers hearing, could have been for a few minutes, you would drive from Montego Bay, come to Kingston, sit in the judge's chambers for perhaps 15 minutes, half an hour, and then drive back to Montego Bay. So you will see there very readily that 4 hours of productive time easily, and that's assuming you drove enthusiastically, would have been lost, if not more, without the benefit of the technological improvements. So we now truly have a system of justice which is accessible to practitioners throughout Jamaica as well as the individual litigants.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your GIS News for Monday, July 26, 2021. Business and consumer confidence in the country remains strong and on a growth path despite the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the point during Friday's opening of an IBEX business process outsourcing facility at the GTech Park in Portmore. He says government is heartened by the growing confidence in the long-term prospects for the economy.
As a government, we take heart that the investors, who are very important economic beings in our ecosystem, that they see a bright future, not just in the short term, but in the long term. And it means that the policy mix that we have as a government aligns with the long-term perspectives and expectations of the investors.
Data on consumers and businesses reported last week show that the two groups were more confident about economic prospects in the second quarter of 2021 when compared to the prior quarter. The Business Confidence Index increased to 130.8 points in June compared to 115.2 points in March 2021 and 115.4 points in June 2020. The Consumer Confidence Index increased to 149.8 points from 120.7 in March 2021, but remained below the 165.2 recorded in June 2020.
What all of this is saying is that confidence in the economy is recovering, and events like this help to bolster confidence in the economy.
The Senate has approved rules and regulations to facilitate the license and supervision of the microcredit sector by the Bank of Jamaica, BOJ. They are the microcredit fees regulations, the microcredit requirements for grant of license regulations, and the microcredit license form of applications rules. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Senator Matthew Samuda, piloted the regulations in the upper house. He says it is necessary that the suite of regulations and rules be promulgated for the Microcredit Act 2021 to become effective. And he says this is important as microcredit institutions play an important role in facilitating the provision of credit to individuals and micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises.
As such, in order to improve the monitoring of the industry, promote greater transparency, protection of consumers, and reduction in risks of the industry being used as a vehicle to facilitate money laundering, it is critical that the Act becomes effective and operational. In order for the commencement of oversight of the microcredit institutions, it is necessary that this suite of regulations and rules be affirmed in both houses.
The Microcredit Act seeks to discourage these types of institutions from lending money at excessive interest rates that are not justified by the risk. It also aims to prohibit predatory lending practices, threats, and intimidation, and to promote greater transparency and disclosure of pricing and terms of products. The legislation should also help to reduce the risk of the industry being used to facilitate money laundering, among other things. Senator Samuda says the deadline for affirmation of the rules and regulations is the end of July, based on commitment with the Financial Action Task Force. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is adding his voice to the call to make Portmore a parish, adding that there needs to be a consensus on the matter.
We actually now need to improve the prospects of Portmore by making it a parish, increasing its level of governance and administration to be more in keeping with the self-expression of the people of Portmore.
The Prime Minister says current consultations to get consensus on how to move forward is important. He says there needs to be better local management of the geography and population, as well as the investment which can be enhanced through this greater autonomy.
Portmore is developing as the informatics center, the area where business process outsourcing, technology can develop. And being a parish with its own sense of direction and governance, then this dream can even be more realized to a greater extent.
Prime Minister Holness, who was speaking on Friday at GTech Park in Portmore, added that the business process outsourcing industry had experienced tremendous growth, being one of the few to do so even in the face of the ongoing pandemic. As at June 30, 2021, the industry employed an estimated 44,000 persons, compared with 38,400 in the same month of 2020. The community of Banks in Clarendon is slated to benefit from major drainage upgrading and an electrification exercise for households under the government's $650 million Rural Development Program. Minister of State in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Homer Davis, says Banks is one of 4 communities where the programmed activities will be undertaken.
This project is what we term an integrated project. It is a project that we are not going to just put a project in and leave you like that. It must be sustained. And in sustaining the project and in sustaining our own community, we will be looking at areas in which we can empower you, the citizens, in order that you can enhance your own economic viability.
The Local Government and Rural Development State Minister was speaking at a press briefing last Thursday after touring the community. He says the project has major stakeholder support and is encouraging residents to take advantage of the training component. And finally, government is providing approximately $70 million in loan funding assistance for the island's dairy farmers. Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Floyd Green says the funds are being provided through the Jamaica Dairy Development Board, the JDDB's Dairy Concessionary Loan Program. Through this financial scheme, farmers can improve the quality of their livestock and increase their herd numbers. The minister was addressing a ceremony at the Island Dairies Farm in Goshen, St. Elizabeth on Friday, where silage was handed over to the St. Elizabeth Dairy Development Cooperative. Silage is a type of fodder or food derived from green foliage crops that have been preserved by acidification achieved through fermentation. It can be fed to cattle, sheep, and other ruminants. The silaging initiative is being undertaken by the Dairy Development Board in collaboration with Island Dairies. Minister Green says the ministry has partnered with the National People's Cooperative Bank, First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union, and Sagicor Bank on the funding facility for dairy farmers. And that's it for GIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Do you own land and need a title? Well, the National Land Agency NLA can help. Through the systematic land registration process, the NLA will assist residents to get titles in declared project areas across Jamaica. Systematic land registration is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as systematic adjudication area. For further information on the systematic land registration process, including declared systematic adjudication areas, who can apply and the benefits, visit the National Land Agency's website at www.nla.gov.jm or email asknla@nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Catch up on the Forestry Department's latest initiative to increase the island's tree cover and boost climate resilience while beautifying Jamaica in this next feature.
The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. A poignant quote that succinctly sums up the My Tree Legacy promotion being put forward by the Forestry Department.
This is the first generation of human beings who would have the opportunity to stop climate change.
In 2019, government through the Forestry Department launched its 3 Million Trees initiative. The aim? Plant trees to represent the island's 3 million inhabitants over a 3-year period, improving tree cover, building climate resilience, meeting the nationally determined contributions under the various climate agreements while beautifying Jamaica land we love are also expected outcomes of this program.
Planting seeds of hope and planting an understanding that we have to care for our environment as well as to be responsible.
It is not just because it sounds like a very nice thing to do to plant trees. It is a very real strategic response in being a responsible government, a responsible nation, a caring nation about our planet and our atmosphere and our climate and our environment to plant trees.
Up to June 2021, over 656,000 seedlings were distributed and planted. But that's just from the Forestry Department. Other ministries, agencies and departments of government have since joined the program. The initiative has also taken on new life with the private sector, civil society and ordinary Jamaicans answering the call. And to kick the program into higher gear is the My Tree Legacy promotion. It's the latest off-branch to the National Tree Planting Initiative.
We're not planting trees for our benefit, but for the benefit of generations to come. I invite you to join us as together we can leave a strong legacy and we will achieve this target of planting 3 million trees.
The hashtag My Tree Legacy promotion intends to take advantage of the strong and vibrant school spirit that's ingrained in our DNA by inviting past students to plant trees at their alma maters.
This will allow us to leave an additional legacy to our current and future students of our dear school.
The program started at St. Jago High School in St. Catherine, where 22 seedlings were planted. Alumni associations at Northern Caribbean University, Clarendon College, Glenmuir, Garvey Maceo, Vere Technical, Ferncourt, Homewood and St. Catherine High Schools have also left their mark.
These plants will be cared for and will ultimately grow into mature trees. They will represent strength and uprightness, which epitomize our students and all stakeholders.
We promise that we will all care for these precious trees, nurturing them so that our students, present and future, will enjoy their beauty and purpose.
We invite you to partner with us, not only by planting and maintaining the trees, but also by raising awareness and by spreading the word among your family, friends, and colleagues so that they too may become involved.
Here's how you can get involved with the My Tree Legacy promotion. First things first, get in touch with your alma mater to identify spaces for planting. Once that's finalized, a call to the Forestry Department will secure technical advice and seedlings for the planting activity. The agency may be reached at 876-618-3205 or email fdinfo@forestry.gov.jm. Remember, once the trees are collected, they should be planted within 2 to 3 days. And be sure to share your efforts on social media using the hashtag #MyTreeLegacy. It would also be nice if the Forestry Department's social media handles are tagged. Make your mark, leave your legacy, give the gift of life. Plant your tree today.
The Forestry Department is leading the implementation of the National Tree Planting Initiative, which seeks to plant 3 million trees in 3 years, one for each Jamaican plus a little extra for good measure. So I'm inviting each Jamaican to visit our nurseries across the island and collect your tree seedling and make your mark towards this great goal for Jamaica.
The government is committed to giving every Jamaican access to safe and affordable housing. Through its National Social Housing Program, particular focus is being placed on the nation's poor. Just recently, the state delivered its latest units, 2 3-bedroom houses at Quarry in St. James and Farm Pen in St. Mary. Find out more about this program next.
Providing safe, adequate and affordable shelter has always been a preoccupation of the government. This commitment can be seen through the mandates of the National Housing Trust, the Housing Agency of Jamaica and the Jamaica Mortgage Bank. The thrust to provide housing for all Jamaicans can also be seen through the work of the Ministry of Local Government and now the National Social Housing Program. The National Social Housing Program is an extension of the Housing Opportunity Production and Employment Program, HOPE. It was developed in 2018 to improve the housing conditions of the country's poor and indigent.
The idea is to support the development of affordable housing solutions right across Jamaica.
The National Social Housing Program, NSHP, achieves its objectives in 3 ways.
The first is the provision of indigent housing. The benefits will be equitably distributed across 63 constituencies, with each constituency receiving 5 units per annum. Then there is the relocation of vulnerable communities. Persons whose lives are in imminent danger will be given priority attention. And then the third modality is the upgrading of tenements, or as we call them, big yards. One such project will be undertaken in each constituency where we can identify tenement yards.
The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has oversight for the NHSP, which is administered by a secretariat. Formed in 2019, the secretariat is headed by National Director Danville Walker. The NHSP delivered its first house in 2019. Since then, 29 houses have been completed at a cost of $250 million. They include 12 3-bedrooms, 11 2-bedrooms, 2 1-bedroom units, and 1 tenement yard, which impacted 3 families. With over 70 persons benefiting from the new social housing program, plans are in place to give even more Jamaicans similar access. 15 units are currently under construction and are on track to be completed by July.
The program is designed to address people who are in need, people who can't get houses going the regular method, but it is also designed to bring hope to communities that are in need of such interventions. So if we can make an impact on this kind of housing situation, then we would have started well down the road to address the issue of housing poverty.
So My advice to persons who are concerned about bladder cancer is noting the commonest presentation is that of hematuria, which is blood in the urine. So if you're seeing blood in the urine, you really should consult your doctor and you should consult your urologist. Also, if you're having other urinary symptoms, such as urgency, meaning you have that strong desire always to have to rush to the bathroom or going very frequently, or getting up often at night, then you really should consult your urologist. If you are in the industries that put you at high risk, then you should be very aware that you're maybe at an increased risk. So if you're a smoker, if you work in the textile industry, or you're a painter, or any of the other industries with prolonged exposure to chemicals, then you should be very aware of the risk of bladder cancer. And it is something that you should have a conversation and the relevant investigations if you have any other signs or symptoms for bladder cancer.
Have you noticed that your child is having challenges sitting up, crawling or walking later than other children? Does he or she have trouble speaking or understanding social rules? Well, this next feature is for you.
My name is Nadine Barrett and my son is Lance Barrett. Lance is a child with intellectual disability and he is also diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Lance was born a 7-pound, 5-ounce baby, 3 months in his life. He wasn't talking, well, 3 months don't talk, but he wasn't crawling around, he wasn't sitting up, he would smile, and I know something was wrong. I can remember this one time, even to this day I spoke about it, tears come to my eye. A doctor came and she was like, "Mommy, this child not going to live to see 2. But my motto is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I'm Nefi Shiva and I'm a person with intellectual disability, and I used to also come to the School of Hope, Randolph Lopez School of Hope, and then I graduated at the age of 18 years old. But he keep on coming up by Jade to tell him that I can't get any work, and then after they call me and tell me that there's a position here for as a janitor work. First time when I just started, I used to think that I couldn't do the work before, but now I see that it's something that I can able to do, and like because it's use my hands, is not really like using the brain.
Intellectual disability is characterized by significant limitations in both intellectual functioning and in adaptive behavior. For instance, in communication, daily living, and social skills. The disability usually originates before the age of 18.
One of the features of intellectual disability is that the persons will have below average IQ. Average IQ is about 100, right? Below average would be anywhere between 70 to 75 and below.
Intellectual disability is diagnosed usually by a psychological assessment. This is inclusive of intelligence, adaptive or behavioral and educational tools done by a clinical educational psychologist. These tools are standardized instruments used specifically to identify levels in the areas of intellect and adaptive behavior. In addition, interviews with family and other relevant persons are done to elicit significant history and other data about functioning related to the persons being assessed. Intellectual disability must not be confused with mental disability.
The important thing is that, and we have to be cognizant of, is that research says that almost 50% of the causes of intellectual disability are unknown. We don't know.
Right up until today, I sit and wondered sometimes. It's like I tried to go back to the first time I remember that I was pregnant and what I did or what I didn't do, or what. There's nothing that I can think of.
Intellectual disability is what they call an invisible disability. People tend to look for something physical. A lot of times there are no visible signs. And so parents tend to be in denial about the child not meeting the milestones, because they don't have a physical disability. So they tend to say, boy, nothing is wrong.
Believe me, it was hard. It was really, really hard. Because having a child that was normal, my daughter, and then having Lance, and to hear that he has a disability, I was wondering, how am I going to cope?
There is a perception that people with intellectual disability have no sense and they can't do things, so that's a myth. So intellectual disability is really just limitations in intellectual functioning. They will learn, but they will do it much slower.
Jade helped me a lot, because if it never for them, I wouldn't know what I would do.
This is a program that we manage in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Information and Youth. We are in 13 of the 14 parishes, so we do have a national network. We have 5 main schools with their affiliate learning centers. Students within this program, they are from ages 6 years to 21 years. So it's really students and youth. They want to be integrated, they want to be included. All they need are opportunities. They'd love to be involved in employment. They'd love to be integrated in their communities. They want other people to see them as valuable members of society. They want to be loved. They want to belong to groups as well. And so even leisure and community activities, they want to be a part of that. And if we're moving into the whole realm of including people, despite their challenges, that's the way we should do it in our communities.
You're not to always listen to what people say about a disability, because if you keep on saying that you have a disability, it's going to put you down, and it's going to make you downgrade yourself and say that you can't do anything for yourself in life.
I look at Lance as a normal child. Before that anyway, I used to limit Lance in doing things. I stopped all of those. I allow Lance to come in the kitchen. He bakes, he cooks, he makes juice, he cuts up vegetables. So the only thing that he does not do at home or anywhere else is walk as yet. And I put it as yet because I still have hope for my child.
Want more information on intellectual disability? Contact JADE. Their headquarters is at 7 Golding Avenue in Kingston. Also, you may call at 876-977-1118 or email jade@cwjamaica.com.
Today's magazine has come to an end. We return tomorrow around about the same time right here on this station. We are available at your leisure on our YouTube channel. You can also keep up with the GIS team on our Facebook, Instagram and Twitter pages. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.